Hello, everyone. I figured that I would finally do one of these. I am, you might have noticed from my commentary that I actually tend to prefer and like to play more narrative, long-form RPG type games. But for this, I'm going to be talking about Clash Royale because teaching an online class is actually takes a lot of time. It's very time consuming. And so I haven't had much time for more long-form RPGs, and there haven't been a whole lot of new long-form RPGs that really captivated me that I have been playing lately, that I've been hyped up about lately. But there's always time for phone games, and so that's what this is. So in this video, I'm going to be talking about the sort of multiplayer competitive aspects. I'm going to be talking about challenge and balance, as well as progression, and how the game sort of combines those things and how that combination works. So this is my account here. You will see that there's my deck for any of you that actually play. You'll see that I am actually, I have been for a few months pretty consistently number one in my clan, but I want to be a little more humble and say that actually the co-leader and leader here I've watched them play, they are actually much better players than I am. They have a better grasp of all different elements of the game. They have better reaction times. They're better players. What accounts for me being number one by that much is probably because I play such an oddball deck, and they tend to play more meta decks. So this brings in stuff from your book. The meta culture of a game is not just the conversations and fandom around a game, but also the meta strategies of a game. That is to say, the conversations going on in the community about those strategies, and so that's something that's part of this, and so when I say meta culture, we're also talking about strategies and dominant strategies, and the dominant strategies will tend to also be things that players are more prepared for, that players will specifically counter. Whereas I play this really oddball deck, and I think that a lot of the time my wins are just because they don't really know what they're facing. So that might be the case. So anyway, I'm going to talk a little bit about progression first. So here I am, Master 2. I usually get up to Master 3. Sometimes I get up to this legendary chest right here, but never have gotten to Champion or Grand Champion. So I'm going to scroll all the way down here. I don't know if there's a faster way to do this. It's been a while since I've scrolled back. So I'm going to scroll all the way down here to the beginning, because I want to talk a little bit about progression in this game and how this game builds progression. So you start off in training camp, and then as you earn trophies past a certain point, then you advance through all these various different stadiums, and this is going to determine kind of what your game looks like, but it also determines what troops that you can unlock. And so this game works in the competitive aspect, that is the trophies that you have, tied in with the introduction of gameplay mechanics, the progression of the game. And so you see in this base sort of card unlock area, the game introduces you to a big tank. It introduces you to a lower cost tank. Introduces you to two different types of ranged unit, and then you also have flying swarms and ground swarms, and so it introduces you to some of the base mechanics of the game. Also, two different types of DPS, really high damage troops here, and two different spells. These are kind of a later edition of the game here. I don't know why they include that in the base set, but for the most part, it introduces you to the basic aspect of the game. And then you get a little bit more. And so as you unlock more, you get spawning units. So that is a building that spawns units, rather. You get a spell that creates units. So you get introduced to these things. You get ground to air types of units. So we get a number of different things out here. And so as you progress, you get introduced to various different mechanics of the game. And that's how, tied to trophies, tied to actual advancement, you have the progression of teaching you concepts of the game, teaching you core concepts, and you get more and more unique spells and units like the lightning here, and this Inferno Tower, and so you get sort of a progressive introduction to these types of gameplay as you progress. So that's one interesting thing that the game does. So progression works pretty well there, and they've managed to tie it very well, such that, say, if you lose trophies, you basically go down in trophies, and then you start facing people that have less trophies. So then you have a chance to pick back up, right? So if you're swimming in waters there, you have too much, the fish are too big or something, you're facing off against things you can't beat, or people you can't beat, rather, because these are all other players that you're facing. Then you'll get down to a level where you can still satisfactorily win. So it's nice. It's a nice progression. The game also offers, through the clans, which are guilds essentially, it offers a nice sort of fellowship, right? If we go back to like LeBlanc's taxonomy and such like that, so it offers that fellowship in this sort of, you have friends and you're planning and you're competing against other clans, and so it offers that. One of my critiques of this game, one of the new things that they have going, which I can't actually play right now because my teams are all still resetting here. But we have the river race, which is the new sort of clan war. Used to just be a much less of an involved thing, but I'm not going to go too much into that in this video. But my complaint about this, so used to they have clan wars, and you would have to get 10 participants to even unlock participation in the clan war. So the problem with that was that, yes, if you're a clan that has a lot of really active members, then that's great. But if you are a more easygoing clan, if you're there more for the friendship and more for casual play, then you didn't even have the option to even compete with the last version of Clan Wars. This one, the River Race, everyone can participate, but even though it's a race, so whoever gets to 5 or 50,000 first gets one of these prizes, right? So it gets the first place prize, the second place prize, the third place, fourth place, fifth place. And that's all well and good, but this is our third river race, and at most we've had 2 of the 5 teams even complete the race. So they're apparently going to be doing balance changes soon, and that's one of the things actually that Costigan talks about, is that these mobile titles can do these balance changes. They can shift things around much easier than a game that just shifts. You can patch it up. They release a new patch or new seasons in some cases, which are just essentially larger patches that change the fundamental code of the game as opposed to just doing some tweaks. So with that next big patch, the next season, where they do some underlying code changes, then they're going to change this a little bit. So we'll see what happens then. But so far, it doesn't really allow you to. Yeah, it's great to have the race, but if you can't finish the race, then it doesn't give you a sense of progression. Whereas with the regular play, you do get that sense of progression, and you have the chance to progress, and you can feel and you can see yourself progressing in that way. And that's not really the case right now with the current version of the Clan Wars, the river race. So minor problems. Okay, I'll play a game here. Now let's see. We'll join the tournament. Taking a big risk here, talking and joining the tournament, just to show you how gameplay is. One of the interesting things about this game is, they are starting hard. Okay. Usually people will conserve their stuff more, but they are just going at it. So anyway, one of the things about this is that you talk about balance and you talk about the transitive properties, and when we're thinking about those things with balance, it's not so clear cut as the book talks about in this game. It's not that it's a little bit more complex, because what you have here, you have a variety of troops that you're playing, and that variety of troops, some troops will be good at certain things. Like for instance, I can take that thing out really quickly with this guy. Whereas, actually, I'm not even going to waste my resources. I'm just going to use a log. Okay, there we go. So whereas this would have stopped him cold if I had done that then, but I didn't really need to. But you have certain troops that are strong against other troops. So that is transitive relationships at work here. But then you have things that are counter to those. So it's sort of multivariate. So not only will I want to find something to counter, he's trying to find something to counter me, I'm trying to find something to counter him, but we each might have things that counter the counters. That's really the sort of interesting thing here about this kind of game, is that you have all of these transitive relationships going on at once, and it's really about finding the balance of both of those things, and trying to see those arrows were a counter to that thing, and so he had a counter to my counter in that case. So you can see kind of how this works. There are counters, two counters. And I'm going to easily have this game. I'll give him that. Give him a little hope there. That gives him I was going to do an emote. Here we go. That gives him a crown. So I think these crowns actually count for... the crowns count towards this little thing here, which is another method of progression, which is also their monetization method. So if you're a pass holder, if you're a pass holder, you can progress through this. These things are always free, so you can continue to get these gold chests here. And then you have some special stuff if you're a pass holder over here on the left. So I just gave him an extra, one of these notches here to count towards his overall progression down there. So that is a little bit about balance, progression, multiplayer aspects a little bit, and all of that stuff with this game. So I figured I should do one of these game journal things as well.